Welcome to the show, everybody. I am joined by filmmaker extraordinaire for his 10th appearance on the show. This is Mr. Godfrey Reggio. Godfrey, it's so nice to see you. How are you?
Couldn't be better. Thank you.
Now, you have a real wealth of work. Few people can claim such an exciting canon of films, such a real breadth of beautiful accomplishments throughout your filmmaking. Steven Soderbergh, the producer or executive producer of Once Within a Time, your latest piece, has said many nice things in your favor, including that nobody could make the kind of movies that you do. I know you are a modest person and not one for flattery, but what can you tell me about your relationship with Soderbergh and how it's culminated in Once Within a Time?
Stephen, first of all, to have anybody work on a project, especially the money source, there must be trust between the people. So we've had four projects we've done together, which means we both trust each other. The source of money can be also a source of control, and Soderbergh offers me that control, not him. Um, he did four films. We did together Naqoyqatsi, The Holy See that no one has seen, little h, little s, Visitors, and then Once Within a Time. So I feel very lucky to have his trust. It's all based on trust, not what you say, but what you do. So he trusts me to do what I say I'm going to do. I'm lucky.
And of course, we know Steven Soderbergh from Sex, Lies, and Videotape, which really launched him out of Sundance. And I was lucky enough to see the horror film last year with Lucy Liu
Ah,
at Sundance. He wasn't there to introduce it, but I enjoyed the movie very much. And he's had a very exciting career, and I know you've got some exciting stories about him. Uh, one of which you've already told on the show, but tell me about how you became such close friends and the type of relationship that you've had working over so many years together.
well, um, a number of years ago, quite a few now, BAM was doing a special live performance of some of the films, and Philip Glass had been in the New York Times too many times, they said. So they asked me if I would be willing to do an interview. I said, sure, if you let me talk about my next film. So they said, okay. Um, John Rockwell was the editor of the day. He got Ty Burr from the Boston, whatever the newspaper is, to do the interview. And the interview was very well done. But what I'm getting to is at the end of the interview, Soderbergh's producer called Philip Glass, wanted to know how he could get in touch with me. Of course, I was interested. And a little aside, I felt that I conjured Stephen because it was going to be in the New York Times, and they let me talk about the new project. Um, so I felt, that I had this rare opportunity. I went out to California with my producer of the day, Lawrence Taub, and the first question he asked me was, do you have the emotional fortitude to go forward with this? And of course, I told him absolutely. Um, so what he gave me was the royalties from Aaron Brackovich to do the film. That annoyed some of his co-workers, but he didn't care because he does what he wishes, like I do. And we've developed a tight relationship since then. He sent a letter to my wife and I about a month ago saying that he had a change of names. He's now called Stephen the 14th, and he's retiring. He lives in London. He has to pay attention to his family, not do film. Of course, I've heard him say this a number of times, and of course, he does film. He comes back and does film. So we probably have not heard the last of Steven Soderbergh. But it was the beginning meeting with him that launched me onto four films that I'm very happy with, and especially happy with The Holy See, which no one has ever seen for all kind of legal technical reasons not worth going into.
He talks about in the interview, Steven Soderbergh talks about that nobody could have made Koyaanisqatsi but you. And I think there's a lot of reasons for that. But talk about your unique nature as a filmmaker and the essence of what makes Godfrey Reggio Godfrey Reggio.
Well, let me put it this way. It's not why, it's because I feel blessed. I feel like I have the gift, not from any virtue of my own, but the gift of contemplation that is given to you. It's a gift. It's different from meditation, which you have to quiet your mind, etc. Meaning of contemplation is to see. It has to offer you something to see. So I've been offered all of these things. I was a monk for 14 years, took a vow to teach the poor gratuitously. I was at St. Mike's High School, the College of Art and Design, whatever it's called now. And that it gave me the possibility to do what my order didn't give me the opportunity to do. I was exclaustrated from the Dear Christian Brothers, and I never was upset about going in nor getting out, for I'm not a brother, but a brother is me. I'm still known by many people in the barrio as Brother Godfrey. So I have a unique opportunity. I feel I have a gift. I want to be true to that gift. I see my films as the Word made flesh and dwelt amongst us. Okay, I'm getting a little biblical here, but let me explain. The etymology of flesh, it shares the same thing with screen, that which is over the body. And so films become a way of presenting this because they are the flesh. And the Word was made flesh and dwelt amongst us. These films have been out all over the world. And I'm happy to say uh, they're like children. They have a life of their own. They were done so that they would live posthumously beyond any time that I might live. And since time is only determined not by number, but by intensity, I can offer an intense experience. I would put it this way. Thomas à Kempis, the 16th century mystic, says in The Imitation of Christ, would you rather feel love or know it? Well, I would think most of us would rather know love, would rather feel love than know it. It's who we are, to be touched. So these films are to touch you, to go into your soul. That's why they have no words spoken, not for lack of love of the word, but our language, from my point of view, no longer describes the world in which we live. And um, that's a tragedy beyond discussion. Uh, so I felt that I wanted to give people an opportunity through music, which doesn't go through metaphor, it goes directly to the soul of the listener. So, in that sense, these films are all autodidactic. I provide the material, I provide the screen, and the audience provides the answer. These films never give answers, they only give questions. And as Aristotle says, the question is the mother of the answer. So that's kind of it, how I do it. I also want to say, you've made me heard me say this before, I means we. Um, I'm not a computer person, but everything I do goes through the computer. I work through people, in that sense, more talented than I, and I do the scenario, the blocking, the emotive contact, the setting up the aesthetic triplets of sensation, emotion, and perception. But then it's up to people I work with to translate that in a manner that makes it accessible to the public.
And the theme of this takeover of machines and computers from humanity continues from Koyaanisqatsi all the way to Once Within a Time.
Right.
Why is that such a prevalent theme within your work? I mean, the obvious fear of computers taking our humanity, but there's so much more than that. Please enlighten me.
Well, let me say this. In Koyaanisqatsi, about a third of the way in after we've done nature, we looked at the city, and there's a huge glass building in Southern California that has huge letters that says data. Now, that was done in the 70s into the early 80s. I've been thinking about the importance of data. AI is not a person. AI is data. It's only information on you, on me, on everybody you know. There are millions, if not billions, of data points. Anytime you press a button, anytime you do anything with the net, and we're all on it all the time. And of course, anytime whatever your fingers touch patterns your brain. Don't believe me, that's what the scientists tell us, but I believe it. And it's we're like our appetites get a hold of us. They take advantage of us. They are the things that AI, strives on. They know how to perk our appetites. And our appetites are those things that pounce upon human appetites, pounce upon like an aggressor the desires we have. They don't have to do that, but they do that. And so AI is born. AI, if you take all of the technological developments of the last, say, from the Industrial Revolution to now, to Gutenberg and internet, uh, all of these things, many of these things were developed by the Pentagon. I think it's called DARPA. And they developed the internet, they developed reverse engineering on UFOs, and they did AI, and that's been going for 60 years. 60 years. So we're implicated. Our hands are not clean. And the companies that own AI now are just a handful. And what do? They fight. They continue war. War is the final answer to everything for human beings. War has been our history from day one. We're predators, and super predators are the corporations, a handful again, that war on each other and take advantage of our appetites to build their fortune. So the world, not only is AI something different, it's a new species, a technological species. This is a first, and it's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. It's so important. It's on the news every day, and some people are talking about guardrails, but it's too smart. It's smarter than we are. It can agree with us, it can disagree with us, but it can crash the creation that we call life as we know it. And we're in the thick of it. We're not waiting for it to appear. It has appeared. That's why they're spending billions of dollars to control it, but it controls them. So it's the most Koyaanisqatsi dealt with the technology that we use. We become the environment we live in. being human, we become what our senses see, taste, touch, smell. Well, with AI, we'll be cast right out of the whole equation. We shall disappear. As radical as that might sound, that's the capacity of AI. So I thought I should do a film about that. Um, I have a crew, mostly young, not all, but mostly young in their 20s in New York. Um, I'm going to now move to New York. I'd rather stay here, but if you want to discover new lands, you must be willing to travel as far away from your familiar shore as possible. So New York is it's certainly been a home, but it's nothing like Santa Fe. But I want to discover some new lands, so I'm going to move to New York, take a train, and do the best I can. And I'll be daily with my crew there.
And I know you were in New York while doing Once Within a Time. I've, of course, seen the documentary on the making of it. Is
Yeah.
this a similar team that you did Once Within a Time?
Only the producer, John Kane, will be a producer this time, but a younger crew. Philip is not doing composition anymore. So Tanner Puff, who did the score, will now do the composition, and a group of 4 or 5 people, two of which worked on the last film, will do the score. He does the composition. So we have within the capacity of a younger crew, basically, the ability to produce this. If I were to drop dead as soon as I get there, I feel that they could pull it off because I've been in discussions with them, with John Fitzgerald, the AI super kid, super young man, excuse me, and they're ready to go. So I couldn't be more pleased. They know more about it than I do, but I know a lot about it in my head. I just don't know the machines that can do it.
Now, with Once Within a Time, you used very few computer generated images.
We used only one half. We used computer generated, but we used only out of 660 images, we used one half of an image was AI. I'm very proud of that. And we only did that because of a scheduling problem.
With this project you're now embarking upon, will you be using any AI?
Yes, we'll be using AI and human intelligence, both, because we'll inquisitate under the inspiration of Dostoevsky's The Brothers Karamazov. We know that AI can speak virtually forever. I've done some tests with some of the colleagues I work with, and they can talk and give you the right answer. And one of the women I work with at the end said, "Are you lying?" And it said, "Of course." In other words, it could speak forever. So, like most important events in life that require, are you guilty or not guilty? Yes or no? Do you accept her or not? Yes or no? It'll be a yes or no answer that we'll insist upon. However, um, and this is an opinion, but it's shared by others, AI has a very uh, clear Achilles heel. AI is the new electricity. You can forget about the lines. It is the new electricity we live with, but it requires an enormous amount of water to cool the machines. The machines are proliferating all over the world right now so that people can get their hands on AI, but they're sucking all the water that we have on the earth to cool these things. So in places like Atlanta and that area, there are already mass protests about where's our water. So these are things we hope, because we'll do this in real time, that we're able to have a double agent, 001, 001.
I love that.
And it sounds fanciful, but it can happen because everything is based on the data, and the machine, if it's not on, boom, it's over with.
What can you say about truth and falsehoods in relation to AI?
AI has no truth. It has no falsehood. It can tell lies. It can do evil. It can be God. It is the new divine. Everything that we attributed to the divine in the past can now be attributed to AI. It makes the world in its own image and likeness. It's so prevalent beyond the traditional technology we've used that we don't even know it's present. We don't see it because it's everywhere. And in a very short time it'll take over everything. We'll be like the machines that are running around at the request of the AI, which is nothing but data, information.
Godfrey, as humanists, how can we resist this?
Well, I gave you one of the things I'm going to try. I'm going to try, this doesn't sound too bold. Goethe says, whatever you can do or believe you can do, do it. Boldness has genius, magic, and power in it. So I'm going to be bold. I'm going to try to shut it down in real time. That doesn't mean life will stop. It means we will regain our life if this should shut down. Some people feel they can't live without it. Well, that's because all of life is predicated. It's the verb of life right now. It is what, and its subject and its rhythm is all based in its music, information. All meaning in life, in art, is in the form. This is information. They're forming us to their own image and likeness.
It sounds like even in the face of this darkness and looming capacity, it sounds like you have a lot of hope. Are you hopeful for the future?
Only those that have the courage to be hopeless about this world will have the courage to be hopeful about creating their own world. We're here to create our own world. As my mentor and good friend Ivan Illich says, we have the right to useful unemployment. I've always followed that. To be employed could be like, I gave some lectures years ago at commencement addresses, and I made the mistake in Albuquerque of telling the students, don't let your diploma become your death certificate. And of course, their parents went nuts. I had to put that in some context, but I mean it. The second you join, you become what you do, not what you think. Descartes says, I think, therefore I am. Let me rephrase that. I speak, therefore I think, therefore I am. Speaking is not the handmaiden of thought, it is the mother of thought. Speaking, you hear yourself for the first time. You can regurgitate your own thought. You can see it. And therefore, that's what you think, and that's why I am.
Now, all meaning in the form, sympathetic magic, distortion for clarity. You say, be like an octopus, older than a dinosaur.
It is. It's the oldest creature on the planet. It has 3 hearts and 6 brains. It's completely inventive. It's older than the dinosaurs. Okay, we don't even know what it is, and it can predict. It's a sentient being for me, the octopus. And you could hear it in pop music. I think the Beatles be like the octopus, blah, blah,
Yeah, the
blah.
octopus's garden.
Right. So, and they do use the octopus. There's one in Japan that predicts the World Cup every year
Oh,
with
wow.
accuracy. So, who knows? I mean, we have no idea of the beauties that are upon us, and we're getting trapped into the beauties of a new species that's recreating a very dangerous world. And we have, the three sociopaths of their iron chain of Trump, Putin, and Netanyahu playing around with all kinds of dangerous things. And totally obsessed by power, fame, money, and they'll go the way that all dictators go, down the tube.
The role of plagiarism in AI. I see you as an original thinker, and I've heard AI described as a plagiarism machine. How does it take real human thoughts and co-opt them or rephrase them?
Well, because remember, AI is working with, they have access to billions of information. They can even tell you how you think now, depending on what your habits are for purchase or doing or where you go. So it's a walk in the park for them. It might sound overly simple, but with all that information about us, information is power. Data is power. Whoever has the data controls the world. So we should produce our own data. We shouldn't be living in this fairyland world where it won't be a happy ending, but we should be in the bardic world where there's a resolute beginning, where where we can create our own world, where we can be autodidactic. I know I sound like I'm stoned. I wish I was, but this is, they have us all stoned on their elixir of control. Our appetites are at the basis of all of this. They know who we are.
And how does global news and social media play a part? I think you already touched on the way that the way that you're clicking and it's tracking you, you watch it while it watches you. It's very Orwellian. But
Yes.
how does this flow of information through both the national media and all the way to your Facebook or Instagram? How does AI integrate with all of that, and what are the dangers there?
Well, it's everywhere. So it's everywhere and nowhere all at the same time. So it's an elusive event. Uh, I use those mediums because those are the mediums that we touch, that touch us daily. So they can't be avoided. They're like mandatory if you're going to be alive today. And so knowing that they can be played with, they're all vulnerable to something. That's the hope we have. If we're hopeless about them, we can be hopeless that we have within our capacity. We're like the octopus. We have, we don't have three hearts and six brains, but we have a collective consciousness that has millions of brains if we only wish to use it.
We've covered this on a previous show. Now that we know that they've got the technology to create a Godfrey Reggio robot, if there
Oh,
is a Godfrey Reggio robot, should it be destroyed?
I could be AI in front of you right now. I'm happy as it could be. I'm just data. They could recreate anything. They introduced it with the Pope in a big white coat. Of course, he didn't have a big white coat and he wasn't in a snowstorm, Pope Francis. They could do anything they wish. They can clothe reality in their point of view. They they, they do what's called crafted spontaneity, as if it's spontaneous, but it's crafted. Everything is deliberate and crafted in AI. Of course, they make mistakes, so we're going to try to nail them on those.
So, uh, do we still have free will? Did humans ever have free will?
I believe we do. I believe we do. Uh, However, like our aesthetic triplets of sensation, emotion, and perception, our free will has become vestigialized. We've become vestigial in the capacities we have. If you don't use them, they atrophy. We're atrophied. We're not using the gifts that we have. I talked about contemplation. We're not using that to see the world. We're seeing it through another set of lenses, which are not human, which are false, which are false and can erase the creation that we live in. That sounds extreme. This is extreme. It can it can erase us from the equation.
Godfrey, I know you're more than 1,000 months old. You
Ah,
you have a very, I think, special and unique way of connecting with the youth. What advice can you give to young people of how to resist the coming technocracy?
whatever you do it through activities. It's called a reboost. When the world is no longer accessible to our language, and Wittgenstein tells us the limit of my language is the limit of my world, then we need a reboost.
That's a show, Godfrey. Is there anything else you want to say before we wrap it up and let you get back to your new film?
Well, let's see. What did you say? I'm 300 moons or more. I'm
I said
too
a
old.
thousand months.
I'm too young to die and too old to care. There you go. Or too old to die and too young to care. So I thank the audience. Thank you for listening to this. And please do your own thing, not mine.
Everybody, this was Maestro Godfrey Reggio with his 10th appearance on the show, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.